A dog in Japan once waited at a train station every single day for 9 years. His owner had died at work. The dog did not know that. He could not understand death, hospitals, or what a heart attack even means. But every afternoon, at the exact same time, he sat at that station and waited. 9 years. Until the dog himself died. Now here's the question nobody asks about that story. The dog clearly did not understand what happened to his owner. But did the dog understand his owner? Because those are two very different things. And the answer changes how you think about every animal you have ever looked at. We assume that understanding means knowledge. Knowing facts. Knowing names. Knowing what a human is. But animals do not operate on facts. They operate on something older. Something most humans have forgotten how to use. And by the end of this video, you might realize that animals understand something about you that you have never been able to see about yourself. Let us start with the animal that lives closest to us. Dogs. A dog does not know your name. It does not know your job. It cannot tell you apart from other humans by looking at a photo. But put a dirty shirt in a room full of identical dirty shirts, and a dog will find yours in seconds. Not because it memorized your face. Because it memorized your chemistry. Researchers at Emory University put dogs inside an MRI machine. Not to scan their bones. To scan their brains. They wanted to see what happens inside a dog's head when it smells its owner. And what they found was strange. The part of the brain that lit up was the caudate nucleus. That is the same region associated with love, attachment, and reward in humans. The dog's brain did not just recognize the owner's scent. It celebrated it. But here's where most people get the story wrong. People say dogs think we are part of their pack. That they see us as the alpha. That is outdated science. Dogs know we are not dogs. They can tell. We smell different. We move different. We stand on two legs and make weird noises with our mouths. A dog does not think you are a strange dog. It knows you are something else entirely. It just decided that this something else is the most important thing in its world. Think about that for a second. A dog has no framework for what a human is. It has no category for us. We do not fit into any box that evolution built for a dog's brain. And instead of being confused or afraid, the dog just created a new category. One that exists only for you. You are not pack. You are not prey. You are not predator. You are the thing that comes home. And dogs do not just recognize you. They read you. A study from the University of Helsinki tracked the eye movements of dogs looking at human faces. Dogs scan our faces the same way humans scan each other. Left side first. That matters because the left side of the human face expresses emotion more intensely. Dogs figured that out on their own. Nobody taught them. No one held up a diagram. They just watched us, generation after generation, and cracked the code. Your dog knows when you are stressed before you know. It can smell the cortisol rising in your sweat. It can hear the change in your breathing pattern. It reads the tension in your shoulders from across the room. You think you are hiding a bad day. Your dog already knows. It knew the moment you picked up your keys in a slightly different way than usual. And that might be the purest form of understanding that exists. Not understanding what you are. Understanding how you feel. Most humans cannot do that for each other. Your dog does it every single day without being asked. But not every animal builds a shrine to you in its brain. Some animals understand you just fine. They just do not think you deserve the attention. Cats know exactly what you are. And they do not care. A researcher named John Bradshaw spent years studying how cats interact with humans compared to how they interact with other cats. And his conclusion was almost insulting. Cats do not change their behavior around humans. At all. When a cat rubs against another cat, it is sharing scent. When it rubs against your leg, same thing. When a cat slow blinks at another cat, it is showing trust. When it slow blinks at you, same thing. Cats treat you with the exact same social tools they use on other cats. That sounds like cats think we are cats. But that is not what it means. Dogs evolved alongside humans for over 15,000 years. During that time, dogs developed an entirely separate social toolkit just for us. They learned to read our pointing, follow our gaze, respond to our facial expressions. Dogs built a new language to talk to humans. Cats did not. Cats domesticated themselves around 10,000 years ago, mostly because they liked the mice near our grain storage. They moved in. We did not invite them. And in 10,000 years of living with us, cats never bothered to develop a single new social behavior for humans. But here is the part that changes the story. Adult cats almost never meow at other cats. Meowing between adult cats is rare. So when your cat stands in the kitchen and screams at you until you open a can, that is actually a behavior it invented specifically for you. Cats did develop one new tool for humans. Just one. And it is a demand. So the common explanation is that cats do not understand humans. But that misses the real picture. Cats understand us fine. They understand that we control the food, the doors, the warm spots, and the schedule. They just decided that the most efficient strategy is to train us instead of bonding with us. And honestly, looking at how most cat owners behave, the cats were right. Now leave the house. Step outside. Walk into a forest. And everything changes. Because to a wild animal, you are not a companion. You are not a provider. You are the most terrifying creature that has ever existed. And that is not an exaggeration. There is a study from Western University of Canada that tested how wildlife responds to different predator sounds. They played recordings of lions, bears, wolves, and dogs near watering holes in South Africa. Animals were cautious around those sounds. Some moved away. Some stayed alert. Then they played recordings of human voices. Just people talking in normal conversation. The animals fled. Immediately. The study found that wildlife is roughly twice as afraid of human voices as they are of lion roars. Let that settle for a moment. Lions kill animals for food every single day in those ecosystems. Humans rarely do. But the animals are more afraid of us. Not because we are bigger. Not because we are faster. Because we are unpredictable. A lion behaves like a lion. You can read a lion. It stalks, it charges, it kills, or it sleeps. You know the pattern. A human? A human walks calmly through the forest one day and sets the entire forest on fire the next. A human builds a road through your home. A human captures you and puts you in a concrete room with glass walls. From an animal's perspective, we are the one predator that does not follow any rules. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Animals do not fear us because they do not understand us. They fear us because they understand us perfectly. They have learned, across thousands of generations, that the creature on two legs is the one creature whose next move you can never predict. Imagine you are a deer standing at the edge of a clearing at dawn. You have memorized every threat in your world. You know the shape of a wolf. You know the sound of a hawk. You know the smell of a mountain lion before it gets close. Every predator has a pattern. A wolf hunts at dusk. An eagle attacks from above. A lion stalks low and charges fast. You can prepare for all of them because they follow rules. Then a human walks out of the trees. And your entire threat system breaks. This creature walks upright, which no normal predator does. It moves slowly, which means it is either not hunting or it is so dangerous that it does not need to rush. It carries objects that somehow extend its body. And worst of all, the last 5 times something shaped like this appeared, it did 5 completely different things. Once it walked past. Once it made a loud bang and the deer beside you dropped dead. Once it threw food on the ground. Once it built a fence that was not there yesterday. Once it just stood there, pointing a small black rectangle at you, and left. There is no pattern. And for a prey animal, an unpredictable predator is the most dangerous thing in existence. That is what we are to wild animals. Not the strongest. Not the fastest. The most confusing. The one thing their millions of years of evolution never built a defense against. But some animals did not run from us. Some animals did something far more unsettling. They studied us. Crows remember human faces. Not in a vague way. In a specific, individual, cross-generational way. Researchers at the University of Washington wore a specific mask while trapping and banding crows on campus. Standard research procedure. Nothing cruel. But the crows remembered that mask. Weeks later, crows who were not even present during the trapping would scold and dive-bomb anyone wearing that exact mask. The information had spread. Crows who had never personally experienced the threat learned to identify it from other crows. And here is the truly unsettling part. Years later, new crows who were born after the original trapping still responded aggressively to that mask. The grudge was inherited. This means crows do not just understand individual humans. They build a social database of which specific humans are dangerous and pass that database to their children. You are not a species to a crow. You are a file in a system. A kind human gets flagged as safe. A threatening human gets flagged forever. So when a crow stares at you from a power line, it is not just sitting there. It is reading your face. It is comparing you to every human it and its parents have ever encountered. And it is making a decision about you before you even notice it is there. You think you are observing the crow. The crow decided what you are before you looked up. There is something unsettling about being profiled by a bird. But at least crows are watching from a distance. Some animals observe us from a place we barely understand at all. Dolphins approach human swimmers. They circle them. They make eye contact. They occasionally push drowning people toward shore. And none of this makes evolutionary sense. A dolphin has no reason to care about a human in the water. We are slow, clumsy, terrible swimmers by their standards. We need equipment to breathe underwater. We make loud, disruptive noises. We are, by any reasonable dolphin metric, one of the most useless creatures in the ocean. And yet dolphins are curious about us. Biologists think dolphins may recognize that humans are intelligent. Not because we pass some underwater test. But because dolphins, being highly social animals with complex communication, might detect that humans also communicate in structured patterns. We are not interesting because of what we understand what we are. But they might recognize that we are something that thinks. Something that, like them, has a mind busy enough to be curious. There are documented cases of dolphins protecting human swimmers from sharks. Circling them. Staying between the human and the predator. This behavior makes no survival sense for the dolphin. Protecting a strange, slow creature from a shark puts the dolphin at risk for zero benefit. Some researchers think it is the same instinct that drives dolphins to protect injured members of their own pod. The dolphin might not understand that you are human. It might just understand that you are alive, you are vulnerable, and something dangerous is nearby. And that was enough. Whales are different. A blue whale encountering a human is like you encountering a single ant crossing a sidewalk after it rained. You might notice it. You probably will not think about it twice. But humpback whales have been documented adjusting their movements around divers. Slowing down. Lifting their enormous fins with visible care. Some researchers describe it as gentleness, and they say it carefully because that word usually has no place in marine biology. The whale seems aware that the tiny creature beside it is fragile. It cannot communicate with you. It does not understand your language, your purpose, or your world. But it knows you can break. And it chooses to move accordingly. That is not intelligence the way we measure it. But it might be something more impressive. It is awareness without understanding. Care without comprehension. And if we are being honest with ourselves, most humans struggle to do even that for each other. And then there is the octopus. And the octopus makes everything more confusing. An octopus has about 500 million neurons. For comparison, a dog has about 530 million. Similar range. But 2/3 of an octopus's neurons are in its arms, not its brain. Its arms can taste, touch, and react independently. Each arm can solve problems on its own. An octopus does not experience the world the way any land animal does. Its consciousness, if we can even call it that, is distributed across its body. But octopuses in aquariums recognize individual human keepers. They behave differently around different staff members. There is a well-documented case at the University of Otago where one octopus repeatedly squirted water at a specific staff member it apparently disliked. Not at other people. Not randomly. At one person. Consistently. The octopus cannot understand what a human is. Our worlds are too different. We breathe air. It breathes water. We have bones. It has none. We think with one brain. It thinks with 9. But despite every possible gap in biology, perception, and experience, the octopus still formed an opinion about a specific human. It still decided that one person deserved to get sprayed. And that is perhaps the most honest answer to the question in the title. Do animals actually understand what humans are? No. Not in any way we would recognize as understanding. They do not know our names, our jobs, our worries, or our plans. They do not know what a human is in the way a textbook would define it. But they understand something else. Something we rarely measure. They understand what each individual human does. The dog knows you come home. The cat knows you open cans. The crow knows your face. The dolphin knows you are trying. The whale knows you are fragile. The octopus knows it does not like you specifically. Animals do not ask, "What is a human?" They ask something much simpler and much harder to fake. What does this one do? Is this one safe? Is this one kind? Does this one come back? We spend our entire lives building identities. Names, titles, reputations, stories about who we are. We curate photos. We rehearse how we want to be seen. We build entire careers around the version of ourselves we want the world to believe in. Animals ignore all of it. Every single layer. They watch what you do when no one important is looking. They track your patterns, your consistency, your energy, your hands. They do not care about what you say you are. They care about what you repeat. A dog does not know you are a manager, a student, or a parent. It knows that you are the one who comes back every day at the same time, who speaks in a soft voice when the house is quiet, and whose heartbeat slows down when you sit beside it on the couch. A crow does not know your name. But it knows your face better than most of your coworkers do. A cat does not respect your authority. But it trusts you enough to fall asleep in the same room, belly exposed, with no defenses at all. For an animal whose ancestors were hunted by everything larger than them, that is not indifference. That is the deepest compliment it knows how to give. And maybe that is the part that should stay with you long after this video ends. Not whether animals understand us, but what it means that the only version of you that animals ever see is the one you cannot edit, rehearse, or perform. The version that exists in your patterns, your habits, and the small things you do when you think nobody is keeping track. Every day, with every small action, you are telling every animal around you exactly what kind of creature you are. Not with words. With behavior. And behavior, unlike words, does not lie. That might be the only honest mirror any of us will ever get. And it has been watching you this whole time.